Good day, everyone. This is Mark Vello, and you're listening to Headline News. Boulder Judge ends assault weapons ban amid national debate over gun control. On Monday, March the 22nd, a vicious shooting at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado, left 10 people dead. This has brought the issue of gun control back to the forefront of the national debate. In the heat of the moment, Boulder County District Judge Andrew Hartman was seen as a hero for upholding the Second Amendment by halting the city's ban on assault weapons and large-capacity magazines. Since the shooting in Colorado, there has been a widespread debate on gun control from the federal government to members of Congress to local level, from President Biden considering executive orders to restrict guns to Democratic lawmakers passing bills to tighten gun sales. The wave of gun control has intensified. However, Judge Hartman overturned the city's ban and no longer prohibits the possessing and transferring of commonly held assault weapons. In the court order, he wrote, "The court has determined that only Colorado or federal law can prohibit the possession, sale, and transfer of assault weapons and large-capacity magazines." Bipartisan members of the federal Senate debated what measures would be most effective in preventing mass shootings. Democrats spoke in favor of universal and comprehensive background check laws, while Republicans argued that measures similar to the proposed laws have been known to have little impact on mass shootings. Biden on Tuesday called on Congress to pass the bills and take additional measures to ban assault weapons. He said, "I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common-sense steps that will save lives in the future and urge my colleagues in the House and Senate to act." The Senate Judiciary Committee convened a hearing on Tuesday morning titled Constitutional and Common Sense Steps to Reduce Gun Violence, where senators heard testimonies for and against current gun laws proposed by Democrats that has garnered little Republican support. The House also passed two bills last week that would tighten gun sale regulations, sending the measures to a divided Senate. The two bills, the Bipartisan Background Check Act and the Enhanced Background Check Act of 2021, would expand background checks on individuals seeking to purchase or transfer firearms. Seven European countries summoned Chinese ambassador to protest over sanctions. After the European Union sanctioned CCP officials over human rights abuses in Xinjiang, the CCP immediately announced retaliatory sanctions against 10 people and 4 entities in Europe, sparking strong dissatisfaction among EU member states. On March 22nd and 23rd, Germany, Belgium, France, Denmark, the Netherlands, Lithuania, and Italy summoned the Chinese ambassador to their respective countries to protest the sanctions imposed by Beijing. On March 23rd, the German Foreign Ministry announced that German State Secretary Miguel Berger summoned the Chinese ambassador to Germany, Ken Wu, for a talk. According to the Foreign Ministry, Berger made clear the German government's view that China's sanctions against European MPs, scientists, and political institutions, as well as non-governmental organizations, represent an inappropriate escalation that unnecessarily strains ties between the EU and China. German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas explained that the German government insisted on a face-to-face discussion with the Chinese ambassador because we wanted to make it very, very clear that the EU's sanctions target individuals who have violated human rights, and that sanctions against legislators and scholars are totally unacceptable to us. Belgian Foreign Minister Sophie Velmes expressed her strong rejection to the sanctions imposed by the Chinese Communist authorities on EU entities and MPs. The Belgian government summoned Zhongming Chao on the 23rd. France also summoned Chinese ambassador Shi Lu on the 23rd. Reuters reported that according to a foreign ministry source, Lu was summoned to underscore the unacceptable nature of insults and threats aimed at French lawmakers and a researcher. Denmark's foreign ministry also announced that it had summoned the Chinese ambassador to express its dissatisfaction with sanctions imposed by Beijing. Danish Foreign Minister Jeppe Kofod said in a statement, "When China sanctions free European politicians, institutions, and dissidents merely for having been critical against China, it is a clear attack on citizens' freedom of expression in Europe and Denmark." Kofod also emphasized the CCP sanctions were indifferent in nature from those of the EU. He said, "Let me emphasize that the EU's sanctions only affect Chinese officials who are directly responsible for gross human rights violations." A Dutch Foreign Ministry spokesperson told AFP on the 22nd the Dutch government summoned the Chinese Communist Party's ambassador to the Netherlands to protest against listing Dutch MP Sjoerd Sjoerdsma on the sanctions list. The spokesperson added, Dutch Foreign Minister Stef Blok was due to say more after a meeting with his counterparts in Brussels, where the EU agreed on sanctions against China earlier Monday. Lithuania and Italy are also known to have summoned the CCP's ambassadors over Beijing's sanctions. Meng's legal team's latest claim got rejected again. The extradition case of Huawei's chief financial officer, Meng Wanzhou, has entered the final stage. Meng's legal team has recently submitted new testimonies to the court several times to stop her extradition to the United States. On March 23rd, a Canadian judge again rejected Meng's request to submit new evidence. It is reported that Meng's legal team wants to include a written testimony from one of Huawei's accountants as evidence, claiming it will provide a better understanding of Huawei's financial practices and help prove Meng's innocence. Heather Holmes, Associate Chief Justice of the British Columbia Supreme Court, rejected the written evidence as not relevant to the extradition hearing. Previously, Meng had also wanted the court to accept written testimony from Huawei employees, claiming that this testimony would prove that HSBC knew about the relationship between Huawei and Starcom and that Meng did not mislead the bank. Holmes rejected the request on the 12th of this month, saying it was not relevant to the issues in the extradition hearing. Meng's extradition case is expected to conclude in May, however. If both sides continue to appeal, the case could continue for years. 49-year-old Meng was arrested by Canadian police while passing through Vancouver International Airport in December 2018 at the request of the U.S. government for mutual legal assistance, which accused her of misleading HSBC by concealing Huawei's relationship with its subsidiary Starcom Technologies Incorporated from HSBC, leading to HSBC's violation of the U.S. ban on Iran. Subsequently, relations between Canada and China deteriorated sharply when former Canadian diplomat Michael Kovrig and Canadian businessman Michael Spavor were detained in China. On the 19th of this month, as the U.S. and China met in high-level diplomacy, a CCP court held the first trial of Spavor, who has been in custody for more than 2 years, and another trial for Michael Kovrig on the 22nd. 26 countries were present to attend the trial, but the Chinese authorities still barred all diplomatic officials from the courthouse, citing it was out of national security considerations. This sparked condemnation from many countries. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken tweeted on the 23rd that the United States joined its allies in urging Beijing to immediately release the arbitrarily detained Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, stressing, "Human beings are not bargaining chips." This concludes today's broadcast. Thank you for your time, and stay tuned for the next Headline News.